Hey everybody, welcome to No Bones About Wrestling. I'm your host Asa, and I'm here as always with Kay Fabulous.
Hey.
And this is AEW Weekly, your weekly dose of all things all elite wrestling. We're going to have some results, we're going to have some rankings, we're going to have a lot of opinions as usual. We're going to have the question of the week, we're going to have some news, and who knows what else we'll have in store for you. Let's get right into the results, along with our opinions sprinkled throughout. We go back to October 25th, AEW Dynamite. They were in Philly. They were in Philly the night after the Phillies lost Game 7 of the National League Championship Series. That's tough. Let me show them at the beginning of the show here. Yes, I am. Renee welcomes MJF, who calls Adam Cole. Up rolls Roddy, and up walks the Kingdom. And, MJF is like, you're here to help? Great. And then he just rolls Roddy away. And MJF says he has a bullet with Juice's name on it. And then we see the devil mask cut in, and then the feed cuts. So we see the devil mask again. This is the third, fourth appearance of the devil mask?
Third.
So we've seen the devil mask, beating up Jay White.
And the last two times it's just been looking off to the side and then turns to stare directly into the camera, and then the screen goes black.
Right. Okay. All right, so up first on Dynamite, we had the Dynamite Diamond Ring match. Of course, the Dynamite Diamond Ring in the possession of MJF. He was defending it against Juice Robinson, and Juice accompanied to the ring by the Guns. And Juice, early on in the match, was juicing. He got busted open by MJF. And MJF hit all manner of dirty tricks on Robinson. And MJF hit Juice with the Dynamite Diamond Ring even, and then hit the Heat Seeker for the pin and the win. This was a terrific match, a lot of heat. I really enjoyed the opener. I gave it 4.5 bones out of 5. I thought it was a terrific match.
I agree with that rating. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah. After the match, Bullet Club Gold assault MJF, and Roddy and the Kingdom come down. World Trios champions, the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass, come down. They run off the Bullet Club Gold. And the Guns challenge MJF for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles, of course held by him and Adam Cole. MJF challenges Bullet Club Gold to a 4-on-4 match for possession of the World Heavyweight title belt, the actual belt itself. So Roddy and the Kingdom try to be on MJF's team. He says no. Acclaimed and Daddy Ass try. And MJF says no. And he also says no scissoring. So the question is, who in the world is going to be on MJF's team in this match?
I got two that I think are going to be on it.
Who?
I think Samoa Joe's going to be on it.
Yeah.
And I think Kenny Omega's going to be on it.
Yeah, I think Kenny Omega. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But then that leaves an empty spot.
We'll talk about him in just a second. So at the top of the ramp, as MJF's leaving, MJF has people coming at him from all sides now. And at the top of the ramp, literally, MJF meets Kenny Omega, who wants a world title shot on Collision on the 28th. And MJF gives it to him. So we have a title shot coming up on Collision on the 28th. So you're saying the team, the 4-on-4, is going to be Bullet Club Gold versus MJF,
Samoa Joe,
Kenny Omega,
and somebody else.
Okay. I would buy that, yeah. I would buy that.
I have no idea who the somebody else is going to be, though.
Yeah, I'm not sure. MJF doesn't have a lot of friends. Adam Cole has had surgery. He's denied every attempt that Roderick Strong and the Kingdom have made to try and help him. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I really don't know. Could be Max Caster. I could see it possibly.
I feel like it would be Roderick Strong before Max Caster.
No, I don't think so.
Can I ask a question, though? So this whole premise is a little bit confusing. This 4-way...
No, it's a 4-on-4.
I'm sorry, 4-on-4. This 4-on-4 is to get his belt back.
Yes.
And the Bullet Club has agreed to give it back to him should he win this match?
Yes.
It's just weird to have a match to get something that's rightfully yours anyway.
Correct.
Okay, that was
It's wrestling.
Yeah.
It's wrestling, girl. Up next, we have Wardlow. He has a promo talking about MJF, talking about how the time that he was out, the 4 months or whatever that he was gone, he wasn't, sitting at home just doing nothing. He was seething over the fact that MJF, this little jerk, this little scumbag, has become the people's hero, the people's scumbag, and the leading name in AEW now. And that's part of what has inspired Wardlow to now come back and why he wants to destroy MJF pretty much. Up next, we have a tag team match. FTW champion Hook teaming up with the returning legendary Rob Van Dam. And they're taking on John Silver and Alex Reynolds of the Dark Order, of course accompanied by Evil Uno. This was a pretty good tag match. RVD hit Rolling Thunder on John Silver, hit a nice Northern Light suplex on Alex Reynolds. Evil Uno tries to interfere, comes in with a steel chair, catches a Van Daminator for his troubles. RVD hits a 5-star frog splash on Alex Reynolds. Hook locks in Red Rum on John Silver, who taps. Hook and Rob Van Dam get the win and stay undefeated as a tag team. I gave this one 4 bones out of 5. Pretty fun tag team match. Pretty good match. And Hook and Rob Van Dam, could they be contenders or are they just having fun? Seems like they're just having fun.
But they're undefeated.
But they are undefeated. I mean, is this leading anywhere? Rob Van Dam's just having, 1 match a month? I mean, it's great to see him. But is it leading anywhere is the question. Doesn't seem to be.
I don't know. Sometimes the most prominent tag teams have a match once a month, it's seemingly.
That's true. Well, I would love to see RVD more frequently, so maybe we will. Who knows?
Let's dream big.
Yeah. Up next, RJ City introduces Tony Storm's new film, Hold That Butler. And essentially, this is a short film to let us all know that Luther, they've now recycled his character, and he has become Tony Storm's butler. So there's an interesting use for a character. Sting and Darby Allin come out next. This is where we were promised Tony Khan had a gift for Sting. Sting and Darby come out. Sting says that Darby Allin is the best tag team partner he's ever had. And then they bring out Sting's surprise. Tony Schiavone gets the mic back and brings out the motherfucking Nature Boy Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Ric Flair, 16-time world champion, comes out to wish Sting the best during his retirement tour, we'll call it. These next, 5 months or so. And Sting and Ric Flair start kind of reminiscing. Ric Flair gives Sting a chop at Sting's request. And they both give a woo, And then Christian, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne come out and spoil the fun.
I will say, Ric Flair, before they came out, he was told Sting that he's going to be there with him up until he retires. So this is not the only time we're going to see Ric Flair.
Seemingly, right.
Yeah.
Seemingly, Ric Flair is in AEW now, yes. So that's cool.
Isn't it so awesome that you just got to say that sentence?
Mm-hmm.
That's so exciting.
Mm-hmm. So Christian comes out, talks shit about Ric Flair. Talks about how, you know, basically Tony Khan gave him, gold chains and a black liver or something like that as a gift. And talks all this shit about Ric Flair and says if there was a God, Ric Flair would be dead 20 years ago. It says all these terrible things. That's Christian's gimmick, as he says terrible things. And so he challenges Darby Allin and Sting to a trios match at Full Gear. Christian, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne versus Darby Allin, Sting, and a partner. And he says, bring Ric Flair if you want, but, I wouldn't. So we'll see how that turns out. Ric Flair stood there and just kind of took it. He seemed to kind of enjoy it, actually,
Mm-hmm.
I think Ric Flair just enjoys being the center of attention, though. So, to be honest, so this 6-man coming up at Full Gear. Who do you think? Here's another mystery. Who are Darby and Sting gonna get?
Adam Copeland.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah. That's the way it looks.
He said he wouldn't wrestle against Christian, though, didn't he?
I don't know. I'm not sure. So up next, Renee Paquette sat down with Chris Jericho. Jericho said he had to visit the hospital after getting beaten on by Powerhouse Hobbs. And Jericho is questioning if it might be time to retire or if it might be time to get revenge. He says he has a friend who's bigger than Hobbs who he may need to call. So here's another mystery. A lot of AEW mysteries.
I have answers for all the mysteries.
Oh, yeah?
I think this is Goldberg.
Why do you think it's Goldberg?
Because he's big. Who else is big?
Jericho actually left WCW partly because he and Goldberg did not get along.
Okay, then my guess is bad.
Yeah, your guess
Who's
is
your
bad.
guess?
Paul White, possibly?
Well, that's lame. He's already there. Why does he have to call him?
He didn't say it was an exciting guess. I don't know. That's just a basic, safe guess.
Okay, give me someone else. Who else is big that's a friend of his that's not in AEW right now, but could be coming to AEW?
That's all I got.
That's what but he's with AEW. I took it as like, he's going to have to call him because he's not with AEW.
That's all I got. I don't know any giant friends he has. Paul White. That's my guess.
Wah, wah.
Up next, we had the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team title match. We had Hangman Adam Page and the Young Bucks defending their belts against the Hardys and Brother Zay. And Brother Zay hit a tornado, took out Nick and Hangman outside. There's a Death Valley driver for 2 by Hangman on Zay. Zay hit the silly string on Hangman. It's been a while since we've seen that move. Matt Jackson super kicks all 3 at one point on the opposing team. Zay launches off the backs of Matt Jackson onto Nick and Hangman. A lot of highlights in this match. Matt hits the Twist of Fate. Jeff hits the Swanton Bomb. Looks like the end, but just a 2 count. Hangman comes in, hits the Buckshot Lariat on Zay. All 3 of the Elite hit the BTE trigger on Brother Zay. Matt Jackson pins him, gets the win. This was an excellent match. Page and the Young Bucks keep the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team titles. I gave this one 4.5 bones out of 5 also.
It's been a really great start to Dynamite.
Yeah, I thought it was a terrific match. And then right after the match concludes, on the big screen, we see Swerve Strickland and Prince Nana show up at a house. And we quickly learn that it's Hangman Page's house. And they have a handheld video camera. And Swerve ends up going to a crib, and they set up a camera. They don't show the kid, but the implication is there's a baby in the crib. And Swerve is talking to Hangman's son and gives him a T-shirt. Tells him he's indebted to Swerve Strickland because he gave him a T-shirt.
Prince Nana T-shirt.
A Prince Nana T-shirt,
like
yeah.
High currency right there.
And then Prince Nana comes in and says, Swerve, we gotta go. So, I'm not sure what the point of all this was, Hangman left like he was going to make it back to his family. He lives somewhere in North Carolina. Like he was going to make it back to his family in time.
I thought he lived in Virginia.
He's from Virginia. He lives in North Carolina. So we'll see where this is going, or what difference it made that it happened.
Mm-hmm.
So up next, Adam Copeland is being interviewed, and Sting and Darby Allin come up. They talk to Adam, and Sting tells him he needs to open his eyes about Christian, and he needs to see that Christian is, evil. He can't be saved. He's not going to turn around and be a tag team partner and be a good guy. And this is maybe why we think that Adam Copeland's going to be the partner in a trios match. But yeah, Sting and Darby trying to convince Adam Copeland that Christian is no good. Yeah, shouldn't take a lot of convincing. So up next, the AEW Women's World Title match. Hikaru Shida defending against Ruby Soho of the Outcasts. Ruby pretended that Shida sprayed her with spray paint. Ruby got the belt, and then Shida actually tries to spray her with spray paint. Ruby blocks the spray paint with the belt, uses a garrote wire on Shida, then hits the Destination Unknown, and still only gets a 2 count. Shortly after this, Shida hits the Katana knee strike for the pin and the win. Good match between these two ladies. Shida keeps the belt. 4 bones out of 5 for this match. And after the match, Timeless Toni Storm comes out with her new butler, Luther, and pretty much just takes all the attention from Hikaru Shida.
I had no idea that was Luther.
Yeah.
If you hadn't said it, I would have never have known.
Why did you think they were calling him Luther?
I didn't hear them call him Luther.
Oh. So Renee is with MJF as Samoa Joe enters the back. Joe says he'll be MJF's friend. He just wants a rematch for the AEW title. International champion Orange Cassidy and Kazuchika Okada in the main event against Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli of the Blackpool Combat Club in a tag match. We see a guillotine knee drop by Danielson on Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy kicks Castagnoli. He does his, little simp kicks, and then they turn into real kicks. Castagnoli hits the big swing. Orange Cassidy breaks it with the Stundog Millionaire. Castagnoli swings Orange Cassidy again, and then puts him in a Scorpion Deathlock. Okada breaks it. Danielson goes for Okada. Drop kick by Okada. Rainmaker by Okada on Danielson. Claudio hits a pop-up European uppercut and gets the pin on Orange Cassidy and the win. So Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli defeat Okada and Orange Cassidy. Another excellent match. 4.5 bones out of 5. Very good addition of Dynamite. Very good wrestling. Someone broke Bryan Danielson's orbital bone. Mm-hmm. Either Orange Cassidy either Orange Cassidy or Okada.
They said it's because he took a Rainmaker and a Orange Punch to the face back to back.
Yeah, so is it actually broken or not? I'm not sure on this.
He's having surgery.
Is he really having surgery?
Wrestling Observer has reported that AEW has reported that Bryan Danielson's getting surgery.
So after the match, Hook, Rocky Romero, and Trent Beretta come out. The Blackpool Combat Club comes out to back Claudio. It's an odd mixture of folks out here. We've got Hook, Rocky Romero, Trent Beretta, Orange Cassidy, Okada, Danielson, Castagnoli, Moxley, I mean, what the fuck is going on? Anyways, next Wednesday on Dynamite, international title match, Orange Cassidy versus Claudio Castagnoli.
I think it's a work.
The
I thought it was
Danielson,
a work when it happened, and then they started talking about the surgery, and I thought, ooh, maybe it wasn't a work. But when it happened, it looked like a work.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because they had all those people around him, and they were very animated about what the injury was.
Yeah.
And they didn't seem to be doing much except drawing attention to the injury.
And they didn't call the medics over, they called the Blackpool Combat Club over.
Yeah. Like they were going to help.
Yeah.
Or like they really needed to know the severity of the injury or something like that. So yeah, good edition of Dynamite. Very good wrestling on this episode of Dynamite. And let's head to AEW Collision.
Can I share a piece of news right now?
Okay.
This was the lowest rated Dynamite in their regular time slot in the year 2023. Isn't that shocking?
It is shocking.
It was such a good episode. People are terrible and can't be trusted to choose what they should watch on television. I should get to choose for them.
So Collision, October 28th in Uncasville, Connecticut. Opened with Jay White, accompanied by the Bullet Club, taking on AR Fox. AR Fox, basic AR Fox match, which isn't basic at all. He does quite a few aerial maneuvers, does some things you've never seen before losing, of course. White hit the Blade Runner on AR Fox for the pin and the win. AR Fox is like the world's most talented jobber at this point, maybe. This was a good match, 4 bones out of 5. After the Jay White win, MJF runs in. He takes the belt, but White takes it back from him, grabs it back from him, and MJF realizes he can't fight the entirety of Bullet Club Gold, and then he runs away. So it would help MJF to have some friends. So speaking of which, the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass are backstage, and they announce that next week they're celebrating being the World Trios Champions for 69 days. Max Caster thinks MJF is coming, but he's been catfished. So someone out there convinced Max Caster that they were MJF and that they were coming to their celebration, but he was catfished, and apparently he, quote, sent pics, which we can only take to mean certain things. So who knows what's going on with Max Caster or what his fucking deal is.
Poor Max Caster.
Yeah.
He's just looking for love.
But I'll tell you what was strange here was the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass said that they were World Trios Champions for 48 days. And they said that next week they'll be World Trios Champions for 69 days. How the fuck does that work?
I don't know.
It was very odd. Didn't make any sense.
I didn't catch the 48 days part.
I swear, because they introduced their thing saying, we've been World Trios Champions for so many days. And they said 48 days. And now they're talking about doing 69-day celebration next week. Makes no sense. After that, we go back down to the ring. The Guns just stayed around. And out in a surprise, out came Dalton Castle with the boys. But Dalton Castle was not wrestling, just the boys. And the Guns beat the boys in a squash match after hitting the 310 to Yuma. So it was nice getting a Dalton Castle entrance halfway. Well, not even halfway. A tenth of the way.
He just walked out and yelled the boys.
He just walked out and yelled, yeah. Then we get a little MJF versus Kenny Omega promo video. Then we get another Danhausen Happy Halloween Humans. We get that this time instead of he's coming back soon. So I don't know. I kind of expected him to return on this Collision.
I totally did. It was the last one before Halloween.
Well, let's see if he does. Ryan Nemeth knocks on C.J. Perry's door, and C.J. Perry doesn't answer the door. Miro does. And he drags Ryan Nemeth in and slams the door, and all we can hear are the sounds of conflict inside and Ryan Nemeth getting his ass beat. Back down to the ring, the AEW Women's title, Fright Night Fight. Women's champion Hikaru Shida is taking on Abaddon, and they've put fake spider webs on the ring ropes.
Fake spiders.
Fake spiders on the ring ropes. Fake tombstones in the ring. A trash can.
Trash can full of brooms.
Full of brooms, yeah. Bones. Things like that.
Tombstones, pumpkins.
Yeah. It's supposed to be a Halloween-y type match.
And it was.
And it was. Abaddon used a bone to break apart a fake tombstone. Hikaru Shida smacked the shit out of Abaddon with a kendo stick at one point. They also used baseball bats, a trash can lid. Abaddon hit a blockbuster on Shida onto a pile of candy at one point. The match ended when Shida put a jack-o'-lantern on Abaddon's head and hit her with the katana knee strike and got the pin and the win, keeping the AEW Women's World title. Gave this one 4 bones out of 5.
This was, if it hadn't been for the main event, this was going to be my favorite match of the night.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I didn't give a best match for Dynamite. So the best match for Dynamite, MJF versus Juice Robinson. That Dynamite Diamond Ring match. That was the match of the night.
Agreed.
After Shida gets the win, Toni Storm, Timeless Toni Storm, again comes out. She prances around. She throws the cowl off the broadcast table and then lays on the broadcast table eating a piece of fruit, which I think may have been a plum. I'm not sure.
It looks like a tomato.
We then get short promos from FTR and Big Bill and Ricky Starks. And then we get another short little video promo between Keith Lee and Shane Taylor. They're trying to make this Keith Lee and Shane Taylor matchup happen.
They're not trying very hard. This is the first we've seen of it.
No, it's the second we've seen
Second
of
we've
it.
seen of
Yeah.
it? Okay. Well, I didn't remember the first, so.
Then we have a Ring of Honor World Television title match. Samoa Joe puts his belt on the line against Rhett Titus, who I got to meet at, actually, when we went to see AEW and Ring of Honor. I got to meet him. He was sitting in the stands, and we noticed him, and I went down and said hello to him. Joe won this via coquina clutch and a squash match. Kept his belt.
I can't believe they squashed Rhett Titus.
Then they showed us a QTV promo from Rampage on Friday. QT Marshall, the gist of it is QT Marshall has the AAA Latin American title, and he says he's going to defend it against AEW's top luchadors soon. But he won't mention whom.
So what that means is we're getting a new belt to be defended on AEW. It's your dream
just
come
what
true.
AEW needs, more belts. Jesus Christ, with the fucking belts already.
At least it means more luchador matches.
It's ridiculous with the belts already. Isn't it?
It's a little ridiculous, yeah.
Got the AEW World title, the
You
AEW
don't
World
need to
Tag
name
Team
them.
title.
You
No,
don't-
I know, I am. The AEW World Trios titles, the AEW International title, the Ring of Honor World title, the AEW World Women's title, the AEW TBS title, the Ring of Honor World Television title, the AEW World Trios title. I think I named that one already. The Ring of Honor World Six-Man title, the Ring of Honor World Tag Team title, the AAA Latin American title.
The Pure Championship.
The Ring of Honor
Television
Pure Championship. I think I named the television
did you
championship.
Say TNT?
The fucking AEW TNT Championship.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
It's wonderful.
It's not wonderful. Stop.
It's wonderful.
Stop that. Claudio Castagnoli promo on Orange Cassidy and Okada says one of them broke Danielson's orbital bone. Castagnoli says he's after them, and he's facing Cassidy for the international title on Wednesday.
Claudio seemed scary in this promo. He did a good job.
Mm-hmm. Did a great job.
He seemed very intimidating.
Yeah. Yes, he did. I agree. Up next, we get a singles match. One half of the World Tag Champs, Ricky Starks, accompanied by his partner Big Bill, taking on Dax Harwood, accompanied by his partner Cash Wheeler. And the House of Black are in the aisle, in the stands, watching on. Dax Harwood hit a pile driver, covered Starks. Big Bill pulled Dax off after a 2 count. Ricky Starks then hits a pile driver of his own, gets the pin and the win after the shenanigans by Big Bill. So Ricky Starks picks up the singles win. This was a good match, 4 bones out of 5. Dax Harwood always puts on a pretty good singles match. The lights go off, a spotlight comes on, and Julia Hart appears. The lights go back off. The House of Black are in the ring. And then La Facción Ingobernables appear. And the LFI come in and they attack the House of Black. So the LFI appear they're going to be faces. And they run off the House of Black, and the LFI and FTR are left in the ring. So that's a very interesting segment. And House of Black and Ricky Starks and Big Bill get run off. Right after that, Lexi Nair is in the back with Andrade, whom she asks about CJ Perry, about the interest in CJ Perry managing him, and asks him about LFI. Andrade says he's a businessman, this is his business and nothing else. And Lexi Nair is left...
No one else's.
Is that right?
Yeah, this is his business and no one else's.
Oh, okay. I wrote the wrong thing then.
Yeah.
Okay. And Lexi Nair is left being like, okay, well, what the fuck? Next, Lexi is with Chris Statlander, the TNT champion, Willow Nightingale, and Sky Blue. Willow says that Sky Blue needs to address the mist and Julia Hart, the spooky mist that Julia Hart sprayed in Willow Nightingale's face and sprayed in Sky Blue's face. But it seemed to have a different effect on the two ladies. The mist that Hart sprayed in Sky Blue's face has seemed to turn her into kind of a person that would fit in with the House of Black. And she's been wearing different makeup, and she's had a frowny face on. And Sky Blue says it's between her and Julia. So what exactly is going on here? We will see. We will see.
We got some stories happening,
Yeah, there are actually some stories happening in AEW. That's true.
We got some mysteries. We got some stories. It's pretty exciting.
Next up, Claudio Castagnoli beat Hot Sauce Tracy Williams after a European uppercut, pinned him in a squash match. We then see Kenny Omega and MJF warming up. There's a split screen, and Samoa Joe comes to MJF and tells him that if he finds himself in a bad way tonight, to scream his name, and Samoa Joe will be there for him. So a lot going on going into this match. So the AEW World Title match, MJF defending against Kenny Omega. If MJF wins, what is at stake here is if MJF wins, he will become the longest reigning AEW World Champion of all time. If Kenny Omega wins, then the record, he would become a 2-time champion, and the record would remain with his first reign. This match started out hot. I mean, these two just came out firing on all cylinders. It was terrific from the beginning. About halfway through, Omega hit a sit-out powerbomb on MJF through a table, shatters the table. After they head back in the ring, Omega hit a couple V-triggers. The two men exchanged poison ranas, and the match, usually, in most matches, would have been winding down, and they were just kind of getting ramped up more. Omega got MJF up for the one-winged angel, and Don Callis ran down. And Omega puts MJF down because he thinks he's going to have to deal with Don Callis. So the ref throws Don Callis out, and then MJF catches Omega. There's a series of rolls for 2 counts. MJF catches Omega with a heat seeker. He's been using that as a finisher. MJF gets a 2 count off of that. MJF then hits the Panama Sunrise and then a second heat seeker for the pin and the win. This match was utterly terrific. MJF keeps his world title. This was 5 bones out of 5. Rare that I give that out, but this match deserved it.
Definitely.
It was excellent. One of the best matches of the year. This is one of the best matches on Collision ever. Probably the best match. The best match that's ever been on Collision. After the match, they show Samoa Joe watching the results on a monitor, Wardlow watching on a monitor, Powerhouse Hobbs watching on a monitor, and Bullet Club Gold watching on a monitor. Everyone after MJF and the world title.
I love it. I love that they're doing that.
Yeah. Man. And MJF holds up Kenny Omega's hand in triumph after the two have had that great match together.
And they hug.
And they embrace briefly, yes. And that is Collision, folks.
So what's your match? Is that your match of the week?
Oh yeah, that was the match of the night. That was the match of the week. Yeah, it was MJF defeating Kenny Omega. Yeah, of course. Best match of the week, no doubt. So what do you want to do? What do you want to do? News?
Next we do news.
Do the news? We've mentioned this already, but Bryan Danielson needs surgery. According to AEW, needs surgery for his broken orbital bone. We will try and find out if this is
a work.
If this is a work or not. Yeah. November 4th is the 69-day celebration for the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass for holding the World Trios Championship. On AEW Rampage on Friday, Mark Briscoe made his AEW return. I guess return from injury, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he got injured, right?
Yeah, I want to say it was a broken arm.
I don't recall.
I don't recall.
No. John Moxley is calling for a system to spot concussions and protect wrestlers. I heard about this. It was calling for, a medical professional to be watching the match, and also for a wrestler who was not connected to creative, like a former wrestler who is not connected to the creative process. So they don't care what stories get messed up or what match results get messed up, who's supposed to watch for concussion signs during the match also. That things that the wrestlers do that seem wrong, that seem out of the ordinary.
I mean, that seems like something they should definitely do.
Yeah, I 100% agree with them. Yeah. Because what we shouldn't be doing is getting concussions and then still trying to find ways to end the match after there. That should be the end of the match.
Yeah.
And if fans don't like that, they can suck it. A concussion, that's the end of the match. Unfortunately. We don't need to find a way to wrap it up. That's it. That's the end of the match.
Yeah.
because you can do way more damage to yourself going through with other actions after a concussion. There's no point in doing it just for something like wrestling. There's no point in risking your health for it, you know. I mean, concussions are very serious. I've gotten a couple myself, so. I know. Also, one piece of news we did share with you, AEW Dynamite drew its lowest rating of 2023 in its regular time slot this week. Surprising. They put on an excellent show. Put on a very good show. Of course, the NBA is back, so that could be part of it. But the NBA has been around in the earlier part of the year as well, so who knows. AEW announced an 8th pay-per-view for this year. World's End pay-per-view was announced for December 30th. It is on Long Island at the Veterans Memorial something or other.
You heard it here folks.
Yeah,
First, folks.
but that's what it is. The Veterans Memorial something or other. MJF versus the Guns Ring of Honor Tag Team title match is going to be on the Full Gear 0 Hour, November 18th. So I'm not sure who his partner is going to be for that, or if he'll have a partner. But it's going to be MJF, I guess, and someone versus the Guns. The Collision ratings are up and remain over 500,000 viewers, which is pretty good.
That's last week's Collision.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, I was just making sure.
Not as good as some were hoping, but good as most people in the know were really thinking. 500,000. You know, most people were thinking more, but that was back when they had CM Punk, you know. Mm-hmm. Most people were looking at like 700,000, 800,000, you know. But 500,000 is fine. I mean, it's not great, but it's good. It's very good. It's very good.
That has 3 squash matches on it.
I mean, it's very good. I'd be interested to see where it stands among the ratings. You know, where it stands among the cable ratings. Mm-hmm. You know, on Saturday nights, because the big thing on Saturday nights is college football. You know.
I don't know.
Well, it is. That's the big thing on cable on Saturday nights. Is everyone's watching college football. All right. Last week, the Rampage ratings were down for Mystico's debut, so that's a shame. As Mystico won a good match over Rocky Romero, a nice 2 out of 3 falls match.
Yeah, that was a fun match.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the news.
And that is the news. So, rankings?
Rankings, my
top
friend.
top 5. Top 5. It's time for the AEW Top 5 rankings, where each week we rank the top 5 men, the top 5 women, and the top 5 teams. Our ranking system is super secret, super proprietary, and super complicated. We'll never tell, never. Who do you want to do first? Men, women, or teams?
Let's start with the men.
Men. Number 5, the Ring of Honor World Television Champion, hopping back on the list, Samoa Joe, after MJF's title. Definitely hot on his heels, yeah. He's trying to get another shot.
Yep, well, and he had that squash match with Rhett Titus.
Yeah. Look good in that. Number 4, staying at number 4, the AEW TNT champion, Christian. Did not have a match this week, but is the TNT champion, so stayed in the ratings that way. Number 3, the man who lost to MJF, but in a 5-bone out of 5 match for the world title, Kenny Omega. The man who seemed to have had the world title won if it weren't for Don Callis. So. Number 2, Jay White, who of course got the win over AR Fox to start off Collision this week, and is still in possession of the AEW World Title belt. Not the title, just the belt. And is getting the world title shot November 18 at Full Gear. And number 1 in the rankings, of course, MJF, the AEW World Champion, picking up that big win over Kenny Omega in the best match ever on AEW Collision. So that's number 1, MJF. Number 2, Switchblade Jay White. Number 3, Kenny Omega. Number 4, Christian. Number 5, Samoa Joe. You want to do
Next,
teams or
women.
women? Number 5, Ruby Soho of the Outcasts. She got the world title shot on Dynamite, but lost, but put up a good fight. Hopping on to the rankings. Number 4, falling 2 spots from number 2, Chris Statlander, the TBS champion. Did not have a match this week, so that's the reason she fell a bit. Number 3, she challenged for the world title on Collision in the Fright Night Fight match. Abaddon.
And she won that spot on Rampage.
She won a 4-way match on Rampage to earn the title shot on Collision.
Great seeing Abaddon. This was my first time seeing her wrestle, because she hasn't wrestled since I've been watching AEW.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time since she's been back, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so it's really great to have her back.
Yeah.
She was good. I was very pleased.
Yeah, her debut on the list, on the top 5 at number 3. Number 2, returning to the list, Toni Storm, the number 1 contender to the world title. And number 1 on the list, of course, the AEW World Champion, Hikaru Shida. She's been defending the belt regularly, and has had a couple world title eliminator matches as well. She's been looking great, and that's why she's been number 1 for weeks now. So number 1, Hikaru Shida. Number 2, Toni Storm. Number 3, Abaddon. Number 4, Chris Statlander. Number 5, Ruby Soho. And now for the teams, and this includes tag teams and trios, because there are so few. Number 5, falling 1 spot from number 4, the Guns. They did get the win over the Boys on Collision. Number 4...
Well, and they're the number 1 contenders for the Ring of Honor tag titles.
Oh, that's true. Number 4, up 1 spot from number 5 last week, the House of Black. They've been causing mayhem everywhere they go.
It's true.
Number 3, back in the rankings. We haven't seen them for a bit. We haven't seen them compete for a bit, I should say. Hangman Page and the Young Bucks, the Ring of Honor World 6-Man Tag Team Champions. They got a big win over the Hardys and Brother Zay on Dynamite, and looked great doing it. Number 2, the AEW World Tag Team Champions, Big Bill and Ricky Starks. And they were number 2 last week as well. And number 1, staying number 1 from last week, the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass. So we have number 1, the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass. Number 2, Big Bill and Ricky Starks. Number 3, Hangman Page and the Young Bucks. Number 4, the House of Black. Number 5, the Guns. And that is your top 5 rankings for AEW. And now for the question of the week. So our topic of the week this week. Kay, would you like to introduce it?
So we have seen 3 separate occasions now where someone is appearing in MJF's devil mask, but it's clearly not MJF. So the question is, who's wearing the mask?
Who the devil?
Who is the devil? So Asa, who's the devil?
Who's the devil?
Who's the devil? Who you got?
The advertising industry in New York.
In
People who
AEW,
sell...
who's the devil?
Oh, I thought you meant in reality. In AEW, I'm gonna put out a couple theories. So my first theory I have based on just how the devil, the first time we saw the devil beat up Jay White, and how he moved his head and he looked at the camera, and how the devil was a thinner person. And my first thought was Ricky Starks.
Mm-hmm.
And now Ricky Starks, he has a lot of potential, and he seems primed to, be taking off. And they're exploiting that potential, and they've given him, the World Tag Team titles with Big Bill. And so some people would say maybe he's not going to be the devil because they're going that route, the tag team route. But I think they can do multiple things with him.
They can, but they don't typically do that, do they?
I think they do, and they can show themselves to do different things,
Mm-hmm.
So I think having Ricky Starks as the devil would be an interesting way to go with it, because it's not someone who's totally, physically intimidating and evil, but with his mind he could be very evil and intimidating.
Well said.
And then that could be used to lure other people into his way of thinking, like we saw with the multiple men, whomever they are, who were beating up Jay White that night.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the other question, is who are the other men? We're not going to address that now because we'd be here all night.
Well, we know one of them wasn't Big Bill because none of them were giants.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just talking about the devil tonight.
Yeah.
But that's my first. That was my first thought. So here, why don't you give us one of your first thoughts?
Well, that was my first thought also, actually.
Because of the physical.
Because of the way he moves his head in the first time we saw him, he does like a turn towards the camera, and it's a very Ricky specific head turn.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I think that would be one of the more interesting ways to go. I have one that I don't want it to be, but I think is a possibility. Can I talk about that?
Okay.
So this is one that has also been suggested on the internets a lot, and I'm not talking about CM Punk. I'm talking about Jack Perry. I don't want it to be him.
Why?
But I think it could very well be him, because we haven't seen him since the All-In debacle. And so I'm assuming they're bringing him back at some point because he was suspended, not fired, meaning he's still on the roster. So if they're paying him, he might as well work for them. And they think that he's on that level because he's one of the 4 pillars, and he's a heel. So I could see all of those reasons being arguments for this is the way we should bring him back. But I think that's too cool for him. Honestly, I don't think he's good enough to pull it off.
He could use something.
That's what I'm nervous about, is that this is going to be the something.
He could use it. I think that would be a good idea.
No, don't support the the idea that I don't want it to be.
It'd be a good idea for them.
Yeah.
He's not good at acting. If they sent him to some acting classes and then made him the devil, I would be all for it, sure.
Or if he never took the mask off.
What? How would we... What?
Like, if he just stays in the mask. That way he doesn't have to act.
And doesn't speak?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound interesting at all.
No.
No.
No. Okay. Was his dad a good actor? I never watched 90210.
Yes. Oh, wait. Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking about Brian Pillman for a second. I was thinking about Brian Pillman and Brian Pillman Jr. His dad was okay.
Okay.
Probably his best work was seen in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh yeah, I have seen that. Yeah. Okay. I forgot he was in that. Okay, who else you got?
So another possibility is Jay White. And of course, Jay White was the first man that was beaten up. But this would make it be Jay White in cahoots with someone.
So this would be him getting fake beaten up?
Him getting fake beaten up, yes. To throw people off the path that he was the devil.
Why?
Well, we haven't seen yet. We'll see eventually. We haven't seen why yet.
Okay.
You know, we haven't seen what this devil character is up to or what he plans to do yet. You know, what his big scheme is or his big plans in AEW. We haven't seen. Or why he would need to hide his identity. Or want to, or any of that, you know. So yeah, so throwing someone off the path could be very valuable. Like I said, we just don't know what the character is up to yet, so yeah, it just could be something that they planted early that works for them later. When we're trying to figure out who it is, and we're like, well, it's not Jay White. He got beaten up. When it is Jay White. You know. Just a thought I had. Another possibility, of course, we got to put it out there. It's on the internet, all over the internet. We'll talk about it briefly. CM Punk. Possibilities. Is there... Tony Khan loves CM Punk. CM Punk has a lot of value for wrestling. You'll notice that old Lunchbox Boy, Jungle Boy, hasn't returned yet.
Lunchbox
Boy hasn't returned yet.
Wait, what does that mean?
I don't know. It just came to me.
Oh, okay.
But he hasn't returned yet. So maybe CM Punk might end up returning before he does. Who knows? I'm sure Tony Khan, I bet he likes CM Punk more than Jungle Boy. And,
everyone likes CM Punk more than Jungle Boy.
And I'm sure he likes what he does for his ratings and his profits more than what Jungle Boy does. So I don't know if he could find it in his heart to forgive him and
oh my God.
And bring him back in. It would be a great way.
He needs to bring him in with some like conditions.
Number one, or if the whole thing was a work. If the whole thing with Jack Perry was a work.
It was like a long con?
Yes. Then wow. Bravo.
I don't think it is. So.
I don't know. That's all I'll say about it. We don't need to go all into it because those are the only two ways it could be, is if he just loves CM Punk and brings him back, or if it was a work from the beginning. Those are the two ways it could be Punk. It would certainly be very interesting if it were CM Punk.
Yeah, I mean, it would definitely be interesting.
Out of everyone that we've brought up, that's the most interesting one yet, I think.
But it also wouldn't fully make sense because, like, CM Punk had his own belt. He had the real world championship, so...
Why?
Why is he going after the devil? Yeah, I don't know. The next person on my list who it might be is who I would really like it to be, but I don't think it's very practical.
Okay.
And that is Will Ospreay.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's coming, I think, to AEW.
I
It's
hope
not
so.
official, but I think when his contract is up with New Japan, I think he's coming to AEW.
I hope so. If they can afford him. WWE might just throw a ton of money at him. And
he wants to go where the wrestling is good.
I hope so. He may just want some money.
But he also may want to go where the wrestling is good.
He may take some money.
But he also might go where the wrestling is good. Tony Khan's a billionaire. He can give him some money.
Tony Khan's not a billionaire. His father
Tony
is.
Khan's daddy's a billionaire. He can give him some money.
Well, we'll see.
But I just think, one, it would put him right at the center of everything as soon as he can reveal himself, and just, it'll start a feud with Jay White, start a feud with MJF. I like it.
That would be great.
I would love it to be Will Ospreay.
And maybe they're playing the long game with the devil. I mean, they can put it off for as long as they fucking want to,
Which is also why I think it might be my fourth option.
Okay.
Which is Adam Cole.
Oh, right.
Who was originally who I thought it was until we found out that his leg was actually broken.
So you think he's now gotten out of surgery and is making these videos and hacking into the AEW broadcast?
I think they could pretend that that's what's happening. I think he's still recovering from surgery, but because it's in a mask, they can tell us it's whoever they want to tell us it is. You got any other guesses?
I think you've covered them pretty well. The one last, and I hate to keep hitting on the obvious. MJF.
What?
MJF.
He's interrupting his own spots with him wearing the devil mask?
Yeah.
That doesn't make
what
sense.
better way to fool us? And he's always the one who says, no one's on the level of the devil.
Yeah.
So.
He also doesn't seem distraught that someone has taken his mask.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't seem bothered by it at all, does he?
Or that someone's impersonating him.
No.
That's the weirdest part. I mean, he's got a lot going on.
He's got a lot going on.
I can kind of see that being a low priority. But you would think he would at least comment on it, and he hasn't really. I hope it's not MJF.
I hope it's not MJF.
I feel like that's
also
the most boring option that it could be.
Yeah, I agree.
But I'd rather it be MJF than Jack Perry.
So Jack Perry's not boring, but it's bad.
Yeah.
I see.
I think Jack Perry would make it boring.
So if you had to place a bet right now.
Ricky Starks.
Ricky Starks.
What about you? Who's your money on?
Adam Cole, I'd say. I don't even have a good reason.
No, I think Adam Cole, when it started, I think Adam Cole was the best story-wise, was the best option. But I don't care what anyone says. That was Ricky Starks in that first mask. I know body language. That was Ricky Starks. Maybe it's not supposed to be Ricky Starks. Maybe it was supposed to be Adam Cole, but Adam Cole has a broken foot, so it definitely wasn't Adam Cole. So maybe it was quote unquote Adam Cole, but that was freaking Ricky Starks wearing a devil mask.
That's the way it seemed to me.
Yeah.
Well, we will see. Who knows when we'll find out. I'm sure it's not the last time we'll discuss it on this show. But it's a question we've been discussing in private, so I thought we'd bring our discussion to the public. And so, listeners, what say you? Who do you think the devil is?
Do you think we'll start seeing them, outside of just video packages? Like, do you think they'll start, like, showing up, like, in the rafters or, like, in the audience, like, with a spotlight hitting them? And they're there staring, and then the spotlight goes out and they disappear?
I do. I'm not sure if we're there yet, but
yeah.
Eventually, yes. Yeah.
I like that. I like the idea of, like, the devil slowly, like, getting closer and closer to you.
Scary.
Yeah, I want it to be scary.
So, so we hope you enjoyed the discussion, and yeah, get at us in the comments and let us know who you think the devil is, or who you hope it is, or who you hope it's not, or who you think it's not. All that stuff. Let us know. So hopefully you've enjoyed AEW Weekly this week. Make sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And make sure to rate us wherever you get podcasts. Mm-hmm. Rate us 5 bones, 5 stars, whatever they'll let you rate us. 5 jack-o'-lanterns, whatever.
And speaking of jack-o'-lanterns, you can feel free to check out our YouTube channel where we have posted a new live show where we watched Halloween Havoc 1997. And we did a watch along with that. It was super fun. Thank you for those of you that joined us. We appreciate you coming along for the ride. But in case you missed it, it is up on YouTube.
Yep, and on our YouTube channel, No Bones About Wrestling. We had technical difficulties, so it's in 2 parts. But you can figure it out. You're smart. I know you are. But yeah, so it's called WCW Halloween Havoc 1997 and etc. Part 2. So, thank you for joining us. And as Mick Foley would say, have a nice day. Bye.